Okay, don't laugh, please. Let's do number 3 here on this worksheet. This is, by the way, worksheet tracing functions worksheet 2. I just, with the class that I currently have in my classroom, we did number 1 and the answer comes out to 314. Let's skip number 2. No, let's do number 2 also. Okay, so at this time I want to show you what happens to this 5. Well, the 5 gets passed as a parameter, and it gets passed to the compute circumference circle function, which even Bradley Cooper would know is found right here, and I doubt he's ever studied Visual Basic. And 5, what am I saying? Yes, this is Bradley Cooper, and I am the person annotating this video, so that 5 plugs in there, and then you put a 5 there because radius, Aaron. Seriously, some students think that I look like Bradley Cooper. And 5 gets plugged in there. What, hey, Strat, who probably does not think I look like Bradley Cooper. Strat, what does pi equal on this worksheet? 3.14. And how did he know that? It's not because it's spelled pi. It's because it was formally declared up here for use anywhere as a constant on this whole form. So now it's a matter of multiplying. Some students might think that this function returns the number 2, but it doesn't. You always do whatever the mathematics, whatever mathematical expression is found in the return statement before you return. So you do the multiplication first, and then whatever that simplifies to, Aaron, that gets returned. So this acts as if there's a set of parentheses here, even though it's not typed out. So Aaron, what's 2 times 5?
10.
And what's 10 times 3.14?
31.
So 31.4, she says, is the final value there, and that's what gets returned back up to the call statement. So 31.4 plugs in for all of this, and that then gets assigned into label 2's text property. So the answer to number 2 in this worksheet is 31.4. Okay, moving on to number 4, let's trace this code. Num cookies is a little local variable equal to 3. These other 2 variables are both equal to 0.0. The one I know is off the screen, you can't see it. Now let's execute this line of code. Total without tax equals. Whoops, here's another function, compute cost. It has 2 parameters, but the parameters are variable names. Well, 3 is really what is currently stored in num cookies right now. And price per cookie, if you look up above, which I'm not going to scroll up, it's 50 cents, 0.5, so plug that in for price cookie. And these are 2 parameters that get passed somewhere on this worksheet. Well, they get passed to the function compute cost. Let's scroll down and find it. Oh, there it is, compute cost. And it has 2 parameters. You always ignore by val. And the as integer, it's not really doing anything meaningful. So num items is the first parameter that's listed in this function header for compute cost, and price per cookie comes in here and plugs in for cost per item. So if you're a goody two-shoes when you do this kind of worksheet, you would show that that 3 from num items is plugged into that area of your Scratch work, and over here cost per item, that's really 0.5, or you could think of it as 50 cents. Let's say we're buying cookies or something, it'd be a 50-cent cookie. Well, that now leads us to this return statement, which we just discussed earlier in this video, that you should treat this as if it's in a set of parentheses. And num items, which is 3, times cost per item, which is 0.5, that multiplies and simplifies to 1.5. And that 1.5 is what we are returning, and that return value is plugging back up here and plugs in for all of this. The call statement has now been replaced with the number 1.5. You could think of that as $1.50. And that $1.50, it goes not into a label at this time, but it goes into this other variable called total without tax. So total without tax should be carefully crossed off on your worksheet, and you should have a 1.5 underneath it. And then we get to the line of code that takes that 1.5, total without tax, and it takes that 1.5 and it plugs it into the actual label, which is somewhere on the screen, we'll assume. So somebody now knows that they owe $1.50. Any questions, Nathan? Because It looks like you might have questions.